Hello, my name is Zach Zawatski. I'm from Bradford, Pennsylvania. Bradford is in the northwestern region of Pennsylvania, and it sits in a valley surrounded by forests, lakes, and lots of nature. I think that's one of the many reasons why I'm so passionate about wildlife and wildlife conservation today. The issue I'll be talking about today is the Return Act. What the Return Act is a bill proposed by Representative Andrew Clyde of Georgia, and the intentions behind this act are to repeal the excise taxes on all firearms, ammunition, and archery equipment sales. Now, this Return Act is a direct threat to the Pittman-Robertson Act of 1937. Within the Pittman-Robertson Act of 1937, they established an excise tax on the sale of firearms, ammunition, and archery equipment. The taxes from these sales go to a funding system where each state is granted a portion of these funds based off license sales, population, and the size of the state. And then once each state is granted a portion of this money, it is purposed to go back to wildlife management, conservation, and habitat restoration. Now, if the Return Act were to be passed, they would look to replace this funding with offshore appropriations from offshore drilling, which I think is irresponsible and redundant. To take an already good system and drastically change it and attempt to replace the funding with appropriations from offshore drilling, which could potentially endanger and hurt more wildlife and habitat, just seems redundant. The Return Act in itself is controversial. I may add that Andrew Clyde, the representative that proposed this bill, owns a gun store in Georgia named Clyde Armory. And the reason this is controversial is if the bill that he proposed is passed, he would be in a position to gain with the sales of his firearms and ammunition from his armory down in Georgia. And one might wonder if the issue of wildlife conservation is becoming the football and political football in this this circumstance. What political footballing is a politician will take an issue such as wildlife conservation and use this issue to lobby themselves ahead into a position of re-election or self-gain without any genuine feelings for the issue that's being used for the selfish gain that the politician is looking to get. And you see this time and time and again in the political climate. And that's why I think the Return Act should not be passed and it should be voted against. And a way people can allow themselves to be heard and allow their stance or opinions to be heard about this issue is if you log on to howlforwildlife.org, that's howlforwildlife.org, each user can enter their information and email their local congressman or congresswoman and share their opinion about this issue and whether or not they would like it to be passed or not. And this gives us a chance for our voices to be heard by our government officials. And I think it's important that our voices are heard about this issue. So issues like wildlife conservation aren't fall victim to political footballing like this again, because it is a serious matter. The system shouldn't be messed with, and wildlife conservation shouldn't be messed with. And again, log on to howlforwildlife.org and allow your voices to be heard by your local government officials about your feelings on this issue to give us a fighting chance for wildlife and wildlife conservation. Thank you.